mentioned, my name is Ruth Mercado Zizzo. I use she pronouns. I'm the Vice President of Programs and Equity at EdVestors. Welcome to the BAI final celebration to celebrate the accomplishments of this year's interns. And I think it's really important to note that this is the first in-person final celebration that we've had since 2019, so in 3 years. So it's really great to be back in person and to gather and celebrate. Over the last 2 months, these students worked at 19 arts and cultural organizations around the city. They also built skills through writing, postsecondary and workforce readiness work, executive coaching, and arts and culture workshops. It's really been a very full summer. And as Jeremy mentioned, we can't do this type of program without the collaborative effort of folks all over the city. And before I say a little more, I wanted to pass the microphone and the podium on to David Leonard, the president of the Boston Public Library, who is hosting us today. So David, I'll pass it on to you.
Welcome to your library. Some of you got to start this program here at BPL, and now we're having the celebration hosted here today. So just remember that, as you go on from this program, this is your library, not just the space here at the Central Library, Teen Central, other spaces, but also the 25 branches throughout the city. So it belongs to you. We're just the custodians of it, and so our opportunity to host this program today is special because the library lives at the intersection of arts and culture, civic engagement, education, and I think it's also worth noting that our youth programming has always been at the heart of who we are, from the earliest years to teenage years to young adult years. I've been to many programs and many events, and people are often fond of using this phrase that youth are our future, or young people are our future. And I just got an opportunity to walk around quickly today, and I rather prefer the phrase that youth are our present. So you all are our present and our future. And so I just want to, on behalf of the city, the Chief of Arts and Culture, Cara Elliott Ortega, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, but who is involved very much with many of the programs with EdVestors and with her team, say congratulations to all of you who have participated. Thank you for participating. Whether your arts work is a hobby or it's a future career, it can be both, it can be either. I hope you've had a good experience. Please enjoy the rest of the celebration. And this is a place of learning, so you will learn from each other as well over the course of the next couple of hours. So thank you, congratulations, and I will pass it back to Ruth with thanks to EdVestors and Bloomberg in particular. So thank you all.
For your partnership and for hosting us today, this great space and hospitality. So the Bloomberg Arts Internship Program, as we mentioned, would not be possible without the expertise from our program partners and our work sites. There are too many of you to name, but many of you are here today. You're all listed in our program and on our website. Thank you so much for your collaboration and for your support and mentorship of our BAI interns throughout the summer. We are particularly grateful to our close partner, the Boston Private Industry Council, who plays a pivotal role in implementing this program by recruiting, preparing, and supporting the interns over the course of the summer and ensuring that the work is connected to the larger system of work-based learning for Boston students. I also want to acknowledge our entire EdVestors BAI team, from our Alumni Advisory Council, our amazing program assistants, and of course our staff, especially Jeremy and Livonia, who bring tireless dedication and excellence to this work every single day. Finally, none of this work would be possible without the support of Bloomberg Philanthropies, who have been steadfast in their commitment to supporting paid arts internship opportunities for high school students throughout the Northeast, not just in Boston. So it's my pleasure to introduce Julia Friedman from Bloomberg Philanthropies. Many of the interns, you met her on Zoom at the beginning of the summer. She fortunately came up from New York today to be with us here, And I would like to invite her to come up and say a few words. So Julia, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Ruth. Wow, it's an awkwardly large photo of myself. Thank you, David, and Boston Public Library as well for hosting the group. Hello, BAI 2022 interns in Boston. It's nice to see everyone again. I'm here with 3 important messages. My first message, I'm passing along from all of us on the Bloomberg Philanthropies team, including our CEO, Patty Harris, and our founder, Mike Bloomberg. Congratulations. Congratulations on completing this summer's internship. You all should be incredibly proud of the work you've done over the past few weeks. Maybe you did a social media project, maybe you worked on your photography or graphic design skills. I'm sure you worked on your college essay and writing skills, among many more activities. Whatever you worked on, your internship successes are impressive. Second message. You are now part of a community of BAI intern alumni, so please keep an eye out from communications from us on upcoming alumni programming, jobs, and other activities. Also, please stay in touch. You can always email me. I'm julia@bloomberg.org. We are eager to hear about your educational and your professional updates. And my third message is thank you. A huge thank you to our wonderful program partners at EdVestors who make this program possible. Marinelle, Ruth, Livonia, Jeremy, Justine, and Harada, and the entire EdVestors team. Thank you to the Alumni Advisory Council members, Cindy, Melissa, Sebastian, Olivia, Sophia, and Adela. A huge thank you to Jay Cottle, the keynote speaker today, and to all of the worksite supervisors, families, and others who've supported the interns this summer. Once more, congratulations. And I think I'm turning it back over to Jeremy to MC.
Awesome. Thank you all so much, and thank you, Julia. Again, thank you to everyone in attendance here today. I have the privilege of introducing our incredible interns that have done so much awesome work over the summer through different program components, and each of our interns was assigned a different program component to cover during this final celebration presentation. So I'm going to first introduce our writing group, who will be sharing their experience working with tutors and staff from 826 Boston, which is a nonprofit youth writing and publishing organization that empowers students to find their voices, tell their stories, and gain communication skills to succeed in school and in life. Working on this presentation were Ashley, Dalwins, Kayla, Lucy, and Sheena. Please give them a huge round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Kayla.
I'm Lucy.
Dalwins.
And our other teammates, Sheena and Ashley, aren't here to join us today, but today we'll be talking to you about writing.
The process you have to go through while writing your essay. Brainstorm. Choose your topic. It could be about anything. Establish which part of yourself you want to reveal. Create an outline for your essay. Begin your essay with a powerful hook. Address the prompt in your essay by dialing back to the prompt, or leave the reader with something to think about. Start your first draft. My advice will be, you don't have to be perfect just on the first rule. Keep adding often new things to your draft, and your final draft will be writing with ease.
So this is a quote by Anton Chekhov, who is a famous playwright, and it basically says, "Don't tell me the moon is shining, show me the glint of light on broken glass." And basically this quote means show not tell, which is on the next slide. So show not tell is a saying that 826 told us about, which basically helps us reveal ourselves in writing. So instead of saying, "Oh, I'm so happy," you can say like, "I was so glad that a smile formed on my face." It just adds more depth to your writing and more emotions. And also about emotions, it's good to like be vulnerable in your essay because it adds more flavor, I would say. And like it just gives the reader a more like understanding feel about who you are as a person and what you do.
And this slide is about the challenges that you might face with writing and solutions to them. So some of the challenges, or how to decide what prompt you want to use for your essay. And how do you start your essay, like if you don't know what to do, all that, and how do you remember the contents of the story you want to tell?
And my solution will be choose a prompt that you feel comfortable doing. Don't try doing something too crazy, something you want to be like others, like your friends. You see something that your friend did and you say, I want to do something like that. Don't try something too crazy, just be yourself. Start with a sentence you believe stand out will get the admission officer attention. The advice that I'll give for the second part is try while writing your essay to, like Kayla said, try to not really to be vulnerable, but when the person reading your essay, you can have a overview of the person you really are. And the last one, write as much as you can remember. This one, keep writing. Don't care about the grammar and anything, just keep writing as much as you can.
And some of the writing tips we have for you is like to start writing. Like if you don't know what to do, just start writing and the words will automatically come to you. And second tip is to ignore your mistakes because you can always go back and fix them later. And to have someone you trust to give you feedback on the things you're writing and all of that. And to also don't dwell too much on the mistake because everybody makes mistakes. It's not just you. Just be yourself and do what you want. Okay.
Thank you.
It was beautiful learning more about you through your college essay drafts. I feel like we've gotten a chance to know you a little bit better through your incredible writing. So thanks so much for sharing those experiences. Throughout the BAI program, interns also complete a 7-week arts management internship at local arts organizations. And this next group is going to talk about their internship experience at their BAI worksite. So the folks that worked on this presentation are Carlos, Jackie, Ali, Nael, Mishnash, and Singi.
Today we are going to be talking about our work sites, so we're just going to introduce ourselves. My name's Mishnash, she, her pronouns.
I'm Allison, she series. I'm Jackie, she series.
And my name is Carlos. As I mentioned before, my name is Carlos. I go to New Mission. I'll be graduating class of 2023, and I worked at the Community Music Center of Boston. On a typical day, I digitize and organize thousands of grant documents and historical records of board members, conducted prospect research on the above, including web researches and interviews with staff and former board members. I prepared briefing memos on grant programs and presented to executive director, research and data entry on historical documents, board membership, and peer organization websites. I also contributed in the blog post. The skills that I have learned while working at CMCB were to ask questions when needed. A lot of the times, my supervisors were not present, so I needed to learn how to do things by myself. And whenever I couldn't understand what to do, I always made sure I found a way to connect to people who I knew could help me in solving these issues, whether it be an email, text message, phone call, whatever was necessary to help me finish my job, I made sure I can do as much as possible. Secondly would be leadership skills. Recently, while I was working on a project, I actually had to present that same project in front of our executive director, Nicole. And it was very nerve-wracking because it was the first time I really had to be in a room with him and to have this really big meeting. It was like the first official meeting I ever had. And to say that I was scared was an understatement. But quickly I learned that there was nothing to worry about as everybody who was in that meeting also made mistakes, and that it reminded me that as long as I showed that I was confident in what I had and that I knew what I was talking about, everything will be fine at the end, which I think is an exemplary thing for all leaders should have. Lastly, I also learned about spreadsheets. I had no experience how to use spreadsheets beforehand. But learning how to use spreadsheets in CMCB, it made it easier because now this might be something that I might use in the future. So learning about how to use this could be very helpful.
Hi everyone, my name is Mishnash. I go to BLA and I was at the worksite of American Repertory Theater this summer. Basically, what I did as a part of the youth action team at the American Repertory Theater was work on an event with 6 of my other peers. We worked on the Interbound Festival. And so essentially what I was able to do with being part of this youth action team was be able to work with like-minded youth. So people who kind of like think like me, and we were all passionate about the arts. Specifically, we were passionate about theater, and we were able to sort of like link theater to social justice issues by focusing on the season for American Repertory Theater and talking about coexisting through storytelling. So as you can see, the little image over there is the youth action team. I'm in the yellow shirt if you can't tell, and I worked with those other people. Right now, we are actually working on an appetizer event for the Interbound Festival. So the 3 plays for the season were Life of Pi, Life of Lilizen, and Twilight. And they essentially talked about coexistence. Specifically in Twilight, it was talking about race, and Life of Pi was talking about religion, and in Life of Lilizen, it was talking about gender roles and sexuality. And so we wanted to be able to facilitate discussions between other high school students as high school students. We wanted to talk about the importance of youth and why youth should be able to lead since they are the future. And so specifically, my part of it is doing an interracial panel. So I'm going to be gathering youth who specifically have 5 races, so white, black, mixed, Asian, etc. And they're just going to be talking about their own experiences with race and their racial identity. The questions that are going to be asked are questions meant to facilitate them, to challenge them to talk about stigmatization and stereotypes in their communities. And after the panel discussion, there's going to be questions and answers for the audience so that they can get to know the panelists a little bit more.
So I'm Jackie. I go to Boston Latin School. I'm a senior graduating in 2023. And this summer I worked at the Huntington as the intern of education. So one thing that I did was help create curriculum guides, which is something that they do for student matinees. So that's when like middle and high school students go to see the plays, and then they do activities or answer questions afterward in order to get like a deeper understanding of the themes or historical background of the play. So I helped create some activities or write some questions, also writing some articles. And with those articles, some of them were published or are going to be published on the Huntington website. So for example, I wrote one about the renovation of the Huntington Theater. And I also wrote some more about like historical context of certain plays. So some skills that I learned were clear communication. So communicating with my coworkers and my supervisors through email or in person. And then also clear explanations in the articles I wrote and the curriculum guides, because I have to make sure that what I'm explaining is like step by step and very clear. I also got some skills in creativity, creating activities, creating articles, which also connected to independence because I was problem solving on my own, making sure I was staying on task, managing my own time. And some of my favorite parts about working at the Huntington were learning more about what goes into theater production, because I really like stories. I watch movies a lot, I read books a lot, but I've just never really like gone to a theater, seen a play. So learning about what goes into it and reading plays was really interesting to me. Also being exposed to careers in the arts, which also links to my next point about meeting and learning from my coworkers and supervisors. I got to talk to a lot of people who work at the Huntington about like their career paths and how they ended up where they are and how they ended up having a career in the arts, which was really interesting. And I also became close friends with a lot of my other coworkers.
Hello, I'm Allison. So I go to Boston Arts, I'm rising senior, and my work site was Actor Shakespeare project. So my main tasks were basically picking out costumes for certain characters for this year's plays, that was Midsummer Night's Dream, as well as worked on sets and props. So basically we helped deciding how the set would look like and make it fit to the setting in the play. And some props that we did were fire crowns and fire sashes. So skills that I learned were, so work with what you got. So ASP is a nonprofit, so we did learn how to create things with like stuff that we kind of had around, and it gave us like a creative and creativity and be more creative. So another thing was insight of how like theater works because I don't know anything about theater, and it was an experience to like know how casting works and how like the cast rehearse and other things.
So this next group, throughout the summer, BAI interns also participated in workshops facilitated by advisors from the College Advising Corps at Boston University. And this next group is going to share what they learned from their college and career readiness sessions. So I'll pass it over to Kalia, Don, Eaton, Joy, and Layla.
So we're doing the college and career readiness, answering the problem, what advices and resources would you give to someone figuring out what to do after high school? And I'm Don.
My name's Kalia.
My name's Eaton.
My name's Layla.
We are going to go over how to apply to colleges. So, in order for you to apply to colleges, you want to be able to work on college apps. So, apps like Common App, Navion, Scholarship.com, etc. As long as you're able to use an app to apply to colleges, it is okay. And applying for student loans. Apply to FAFSA, make sure that you're able to qualify. So you want to make sure you have all your paperwork in and ready to go so you are able to get what you need. And then also, you want to ask for colleges or career schools will send you financial aid offers, which may include federal student loans. And you should apply to 5 to 10 colleges, sometimes 9. They'll usually ask, but I say 10, want to make sure you have like 3 levels of school. So you want to have like, your dream school, and then you want to have something you want to have like your middle schools, and you probably want to have like your backup schools, just to guarantee that you get into a college in case you don't get in. And then go for scholarships. There is a lot of money that really goes to waste because people don't apply for scholarships. So it's best to take every advantage that you guys have in order so you don't have to pay for student loans later on. And you have to make sure that you have a 3.5 GPA or higher, so take advantage of everything.
And I'll be explaining how you can get help during the college experience. So college is a new thing for everybody, like transitioning out of high school can be difficult. And there are resources at most colleges that you can take advantage of. So for example, food pantries, if you can't afford food to feed yourself, there are opportunities where you can get food and help with that. There are college counselors, so if you're, struggling with your mental health or anything internal or external, you can meet with somebody and really just talk about how you're feeling. Academic advisors, which are pretty self-explanatory. Somebody is helping you advise your academics. And you can apply for work studies. So a work study is just essentially an accommodation for people who want to work and go to college at the same time. Yeah, there are also accommodations that can be given to you, like extra testing time and extending deadlines if you're really going through it. And yeah, friends can also be another huge way to support yourself. Yeah, you should just try and get out there and talk to other people.
Hi, again, my name is Layla, and my slide is other options besides college. And during our lives up to our senior year of high school, we were told that college is the only option for us. But that is not true. There are other options and resources. We could do stuff like gap year, armed forces, artistic career, volunteering, doing a fellowship, an internship, or an apprenticeship, or working, or doing a career college, or online classes, entrepreneurship, traveling for a living. You can also do stuff like under working, becoming a realtor, being a physical trainer, a medical assistant or secretary, a loan officer, a graphic designer, or a criminal detective. There is a misconception that having a successful life means that you have money, but it doesn't. Money is only a tool, and having success means that you are happy.
As Layla just explained, there are multiple options that you can do after high school, and specifically one of them can definitely be trade school. So some people may not consider going to college because of student loans and being in college debt, or committing to a 4-year institution can be difficult for them. But there is another option, which is trade school, and that's just essentially another secondary education option where you can learn a specific skill. So the difference between a college and a trade school, colleges have more of a broad education, so you can major in many different things, and there's a heavier application process, so applying for colleges can take longer and more effort, and it does cost more money, and it's a longer commitment. Whereas trade school, it's a specific training, so if you want to work as a hairstylist, you know, like you will go to a school like Empire Beauty School, which is specifically for styling hair and learning more about the hair industry. And it's a more simpler application process while it also costs less money, and it is a shorter commitment. And for example, when we go on field trips with BAI, we went to one trade school called North Bennett Street School, and for example, if you like violin making, they do have a course for creating violins if you are interested in that type of thing.
Okay, so next I'll be talking about college tours, and two schools that stood out to me was Bunker Hill Community College and Boston University. So both of the schools are different, however, one of them has more affordability, it has multiple programs, it has a high acceptance rate, and it's a small community, while the other is quite expensive unless you get a scholarship. It's open, it has multiple opportunities, and it has more programs and academic flexibility. So why would you go on college tours in the first place? So you would go because it physically allows you to see the campus, and you could weigh out pros and cons, ask advisors about their programs, and see the differences between the school. You can access questions from the college tour guides, know the education, and find out the living system. But it all leads to one point where being offered these college tours and receiving advice from the college tour guides and advisors were very amazing. Knowing these differences are so beneficial when applying. No matter if you're planning to go to community college, going to university, taking a break, or taking a gap year, or whatever you're doing, it's all worth it as long as it's what you want to do. And with that, thank you.
This next group reflected on how they leverage their communication skills to support themselves, their peers, and other BAI community members. Our next group is Olive, Ellie, Antonio, and Aaliyah. Let's give them a round of applause.
Hello, I'm Antonio, and my slide is going to be talking about communication in the workplace. So, me personally, this summer, luckily for me, I worked at a college where communication is key, because there's a lot of people learning things 24/7, and if you want to learn something new, you have to advocate. You have to say, hey, I want to do that. Can you teach me this? Can you teach me that? So I learned this summer that speaking up for yourself is very important, especially in a big place, because if you don't speak up for yourself, you're just going to be miserable while you're working. And as you can see what I wrote, your mental health should always come before your job and your money. You should always put yourself before other things. So if you think the job is not right, or you think a certain aspect of that job is not right for you, you need to say, this isn't for me, or this part of this job is not for me. Can I maybe do something else in this building? But yeah, all in all, I would always say definitely speak up for yourself, especially in the workplace. 24/7, speak up, put your mental health first.
So everyone starts somewhere in their communication journey, me, myself included, where communication was something I struggled a lot with growing up, where I had to learn that it's not a burden to ask and speak up for what you need. Because I grew up with the philosophy of thinking that it never hurts to ask. Because if you don't say anything, then nothing's ever going to change. So speaking up, the worst answer you can get is a no, or the things will stay the same. So it never hurts to speak up. And if you don't speak up, you'll miss out on opportunities and resources that would have been available to you had you not said anything. So communication is very important. It's a skill that everyone should learn to develop.
Hello, I'm Ellie. Communication is something a lot of people are scared of, and I went through that struggle a lot. Communication has always been a struggle for me when it came to this kind of stuff, where I have to present something, where I have to talk to something or someone, and to make sure that, hey, I'm gonna put this across to the other person. So specifically, I had to advocate for myself in my workplace. I had to advocate for myself because they weren't giving us enough hours. It wasn't what I wanted to do. My job I wasn't really experienced in my job. So I had to go to my supervisor and tell them what I wanted to do instead. And it went through. And it was hard for me because I'm a shy and a quiet person, so it's hard for me to even talk to someone and speak up for myself. Though I was able to go through that. And it was a hard obstacle. But it's good to speak up for yourself and to advocate for yourself and to make sure that you put across what you want. Thank you.
So this summer, I had the pleasure of working with the Bloomberg Arts Internship. My work site was Urbanity Dance, and I'm so grateful that I was placed there. Just seeing like the teens and the kids and the different types of work that they were doing, like the different types of dances they were doing was so beautiful. As far as the communication goes, I'm really grateful for the BAI and how they express that if we have any concerns to please reach out to them, or if we just need help with something, or if we just need to talk. And they always, after every time we meet, they always mention how they're here for us. I know some people can struggle with like mental health. Ruth actually helped me with some numbers and websites, so I wanted to do the same to anybody else who might have been going through a hard time. So thank you, BAI staff.
Our next group, BAI interns also met weekly in small groups with Mwadi Dabinga, who's a Boston-based arts leader and executive coach. Mwadi led personal and professional coaching workshops and covered a wide range of topics focused on work readiness skills, things like developing a positive vision for the future, having a success mindset, understanding the importance of networking, and cultivating your own brand. So this next group is excited to share their takeaways from Mwadi's inspirational and informational sessions. Let's give it up for Nathan, Rain, Sunshina, and Travell.
Hello everyone, my name is Travell.
I'm Sunshina.
And this is also supposed to be with Nate, Rain, and Zamarita as well. Unfortunately, they're not here, but I'm more than happy to present for them.
A takeaway I got from the coaching from Mwadi is to really take time aside for yourself so that you can focus on you and your craft. It's important so that you can have your alone time and free time at the same time as working hard and contributing to your future. This really helped me with self-discipline and really setting my distractions aside, so I'm so grateful for Mwadi for that.
So something that I took away from community building and coaching was, one, to build new connections, because there's a room full of artists, there's a room full of entrepreneurs, there's a room full of people who can help you later in your career. So building new connections is always important because like one of my fellow interns said before, the worst answer you can get is no. So there's no problem with reaching out, building new connections with new people. I also love seeing other young artists who spark myself, like to do other things, like other than my craft. I'm interested in like fashion and things like that, but to see like people do music, poetry, and things like that, it really did spark a lot of inspiration for me. And I also love being introduced to other opportunities besides college. So visiting trade schools and visiting different schools that didn't have to be a 4-year college or university really allowed myself to think like, if I do not go to college, I know I am going to be successful. So I do thank BAI for introducing me to that. And from Mwadi's coaching sessions, I took away that you should always reciprocate the energy that you get from those friends and those people in your life who are not there for you in your times of need. And whenever you're there for them, it's just, not reciprocated back. So that's something that I took away from her coaching sessions, which I really did appreciate.
Some of the things that I love learning from my work site and here are learning to collaborate in an artistic space because it's a room full of people. That's like one of the first times I've had to collaborate with that many people, and I loved learning from everybody's perspectives. Also working on project management and event planning. I worked at Boston Lyric Opera, and I got to work with my supervisor Olivia on a Romeo and Juliet opera show, and we did that at the Boston Common, and planning the background versions of that was really fun. I loved learning what goes on behind the scenes. Also, I got to do informational interviews, like the managers and people in the work site, and learned from them as much as I could, which I loved. Also, we talked a lot about college at BAI, which I loved because it helped me know what steps to take next as I go to senior year and what to do.
So here Zamarita said she enjoyed engagement in the activities and talks that we had. She enjoyed asking questions. She enjoyed listening and respecting others' opinions and respecting the space and the colleges that we visited, which I did observe from her as well.
Okay, some advice that I would offer to anybody coming in this program is to talk to people, because you're gonna be spending time with people, and getting to know them and making friends would make your time more enjoyable. Also, sharing your opinions and being open-minded, because it's not just you in a space, it's a lot of people. So seeing everybody from different perspectives and understanding their point of views could help you grow as a person and understanding how other people around you work as a community. Also, taking advantage of the resources they give you, like the 826 Boston classes. You get tutoring, you get help with college essays. I know personally they helped me write my college essay, which I'm grateful for because I was procrastinating on that. Also enjoying yourselves, because you're gonna spend like at least 6 weeks here. You do not want to be miserable. That would be sad.
So advice that I have for anyone who's doing BAI as an internship next year or following years is to first be yourself. When you walk into space, just make sure that you're just being you, because there's no one else that you could be. You're always going to find your group regardless, and everyone's going to have like different circumstances than you, come from different backgrounds, etc. So just be yourself no matter what, because that can be appreciated in a lot of spaces. Also, have fun. Make sure to have fun. You know, like Sunshine said, you don't want to be miserable throughout your time here. But also remember, this is a professional setting, so do take advantage of the opportunities you have while having fun, while remembering you are at work as well. Even though it's hard to think of it as a job here, because it really doesn't feel like you're really working because of all the, great things that we get here. Also, communicate and stay professional. During my time here, it was very easy to communicate with different people. Like Lord Arena, she gave me a really easy time, being able to communicate, if I was having trouble getting here, if I was having troubles with different things. She just always made sure to reach out, and I really did feel very supported by her no matter what. Also, when they tell you to make a LinkedIn account, please make that account, because there's a lot of people you're going to want to stay in touch with. There's a lot of people who might want to be in touch with you that you don't even know about. But, like I said, making those connections. So making that LinkedIn account is going to help you to keep those connections still alive.
So some more advice from my fellow intern is ask for help when you need it, because you don't want to be stuck in one place. You want to move on and solve your problems. So ask for help, because there are people here to help you. And also get to know people, because you want to have connections, like Terrell said. And don't shy away for putting out your ideas. Your ideas do matter. It doesn't matter if somebody doesn't think the same as you. That's the point of having a bunch of people. It's to see where everybody else comes from. And also, if you need a break, ask for it. Always put your mental health first. And be kind to everybody. You do not want to be disrespectful. It will not go well for you. Thank you so much.
Even as a 30-year-old man, I walked away with so many takeaways from Wadi Dabinga's sessions, and I'm glad that the young people did as well. Travell, thank you so much for covering Zamarita's slide as well. Zamarita, if you're watching this recording, apologies for missing your name at the top. Let's go on to our final group, last but certainly not least. One of the goals of the BAI program is to support interns in developing knowledge of and connection to cultural infrastructure, in addition to awareness of culture as a civic resource. And we do this through field trips to cultural institutions and tours and workshops at local arts organizations on Fridays. Our final group will be reflecting on the opportunities to engage in and work in the arts and culture field in Boston. So give a huge round of applause to Antoine, Denisha, Tyra, Denzel, and Nevaeh.
Hello, everyone. We are the Arts and Culture Group. And
hi, I'm Tyra, and I worked at the Huntington Theater this summer. With my supervisor being away during some of the hours of my internship, I learned how to communicate with him over email, and in terms of my work site, I learned how to write professional emails, and that communication is key. Throughout the course of the 7 weeks, I got to see the process that it takes to put on a play. The Huntington greatly contributes to the arts within Boston and the plays they put on, and I'm so honored to have worked there.
Hello, I'm Antoine and I worked from Spokes. I worked there to mostly make stairs and learn other things, but the main thing I learned is how to get around the workplace, even though my supervisors weren't always there, even though they were busy with something else. So I always figured out something to do, which I've done. But mostly, I tried my best to work with them.
And Denisha and Nevaeh couldn't be here, sadly, but Denisha worked at NEMPAC, which is North End Music and Performing Arts Center, and Nevaeh worked at Berkeley School of Music. And my name is Denzel. I worked at Urbanity Dance, and my takeaway from the job is just being able to see my passion, being a profession in Boston and not out of state where I don't have to travel, was just one big takeaway that will forever be lived within me, because I grew up realizing that I had to go to Los Angeles or Atlanta or New York just to do something that I love, but to find out that there's an organization here in the state I grew up in was just something that will ever stay with me in terms of the future.
What are the opportunities to engage in and work in arts and culture field in Boston? The topic I chose was House Art Center, which was founded in 2017 and has given artists a chance to visually represent social issues that resonates with them. This is an art piece that I really liked from an artist at Powell's Art Center.
What I learned, or what opportunities I engaged in at my work site, was that art is a very crucial part of history, because I was working on something which was to build stairs for a place called No Man's Land. It has been around for a couple years. I don't know how long exactly. But it's been being added on by other people who have worked there. And I think it's a very great part of history itself to show that how long art has been around.
And one of the examples from another art example from Powell Art Center was just that it uses art to bring awareness to issues in the city of Boston, such as the displacement of minority communities due to the industrialization of their districts.
So this is Nevaeh's slide. She worked at Berkeley and she learned that it was really fun but also professional. She met a lot of amazing musicians and they helped her make her own show file.
As for mine, for arts and culture, I chose my work site because basically, once again, being able to do something that I love doing, but as a on a professional level, was just another big takeaway. Urbanity Dance was founded in 2008, and it's a nonprofit dance school in Boston, and they teach various ranges of dance styles, like my coworker Leah said. They teach ages basically from 4 to probably 60 and up. They range a lot throughout the school year and also the summer. Specifically, we was able to see the various dance styles of the kids, the teens, and the adults if you stayed later, depending on the type of hours you work.
Thank you all so much to the Arts and Culture Group and to all the incredible interns that presented today. You are such great additions, not only to this program and to our alumni network, but to the arts and culture sector in Boston. And that last presentation you mentioned, a lot of people end up leaving Boston to go pursue their art, but there's so much great arts and culture happening right here. So I hope you continue to contribute. Stick around with us as long as you can until you go off and do some incredible things elsewhere around the world. So one more round of applause. I'm someone that's been in the arts and culture field in Boston for years and since high school, and I have the pleasure of introducing a friend, a colleague, and a fellow alum of Boston Arts Academy, our keynote speaker, Jay Cottle. Jay is an educator, arts administrator, musician, writer, host, and advocate, so much more. He's currently the founder and executive director of Dunamis, the creative director of Petrichor, and a co-host of the podcast Play Black and Heart Behind the Hustle. Jay has supported and advanced the work of Mass Vote, Boston Arts Academy, Berklee College of Music, and the Community Music Center of Boston. I'm sure a lot of those names sound familiar to our interns as well. He serves on the boards of Hoopla and The Flavor Continues, is a 2019 National Arts Strategies Creative Community Fellow, a member of the Martin Richard Institute of Social Justice Advisory Board, and the Tisch College Community Partnership Committee. Jay's work explores the intersection of art, equity, civic engagement, transformative growth, and joy. When do you sleep? It's my pleasure again to introduce our keynote speaker, Jay Cottle.
I get my good 8 hours, okay? I make sure I'm in time. That's a priority. Hello, everyone. Excited to be here. I do have a little bone to pick. As Jeremy mentioned, I am an alum of Boston Arts Academy. I graduated in 2009, and I'm seeing a lot of, see, I hear it, right? The 2023s in here, and I'm like, that math ain't mathin'. So how dare you be this young, essentially. So yes, I am a BPS alum, and I actually went back to teach voice at Boston Arts Academy and Dorchester Academy. And while I was in graduate school, that's where I was doing, and it was the combination of those experiences that led me to establishing Dunamis, which essentially is an organization that nurtures and supports the development of creatives of color. So we help emerging creatives, like yourselves, find their voice and speak their dreams into existence. Over the past 6 years, we've nurtured and supported almost 200 artists and arts managers in the city across all of our programs and partnerships. The 4th cohort of our arts management apprenticeship ends next Tuesday, and it has been powerful to watch our apprentices like you all reach new heights, make new connections, and gain confidence in themselves as they move through the world affecting change. Before Dunamis was an organization, it started as a project for me in grad school. One of the very first things we did was run around Boston asking artists, educators, and arts administrators the exact same question. What advice would you give an artist when they were first starting out? We then combed through all of those interviews and created a little booklet called The Modern Artist that took all the gems from those conversations and distilled them down to 8 pearls of wisdom. I'm not sharing those pearls of wisdom with you today. You can get on our website. We're doing something different. But I figured why not do something similar today? And so as you begin to embark on your journeys, here are 8 pearls of wisdom gathered from myself, my mentors, my therapist, and random strangers that have allowed me to stand before you today. Number 1, ramble with intention and explore unorthodoxy. So when I was in college, I was first a history and education major. Then I was a philosophy major. Then I was a psychology major. And finally, a music and arts management major, with also essentially a minor in communications. And so from the outside looking in, it could seem that I was being hella random, and to some degree I was. But I remember thinking to myself, when will I have this chance to explore all of my different passions? If I know that I'm drawn to something, don't I have the responsibility to at the very least explore it? Even for those of you that decide college is not the route you want to take, you are still at a unique period in your life where there are certain doors and opportunities available to you that are much harder to access once you progress in your career. So take that random class, take that random internship, send that cold email and ask to meet with someone working the job you might be interested in. The unorthodoxy part comes in when you realize that your life is not going to look like everyone else's, and that's okay. There's no one way to win. So if you like baking and archaeology and playing the piano, wonderful. Don't run from that. Which leads us to point number 2. Find where the strands intersect. In high school, I had a teacher say to me, Jay, I worry about you. You have your hand in too many cookie jars, and one day you're going to have to choose, and you won't be able to. Fast forward to 4 years later, and he was right. I didn't know if I should teach, or get an arts admin job, or try to work as a performer. I told this to one of my teachers, and she said, Jay, I have to respectfully disagree with that teacher. These things aren't as random as they appear. Find where the strands intersect. The job I have right now as the executive director of Dunamis requires that I understand people and can function as a safe yet accountable space for them, and that I know how to lead a team effectively. My time in psychology has been invaluable for that. When I have to expand and shift my way of understanding society or how to do this work from a macro view, I pull on the critical thinking skills I learned in philosophy. When I'm being interviewed or writing copy for our website or the speech or social media or producing our podcast, I'm using the lessons I learned in my communications courses. Facilitating workshops and designing education programs is a large part of my work, and in that way, I'm pulling on my training as an educator. It won't always be this obvious, but find the elements and strands of what you're drawn to and see how they can take shape in your life. Pearl number 3. Once you do that, once you have some clarity over what drives you, comes this point, which is to develop your personal mission statement. When I was having that crisis at the end of school, I also went to the president of my college and confided in her. She set up a meeting with me and her mentor, and as I prepared to meet with him, I saw that he had been a dean at Boston University, had founded the Boston Children's Chorus even though he was not a musician, and was now running a community service and youth development nonprofit. I couldn't see how it all connected, and so I asked him, you seem to have all these interests. You have a really random resume. How did you navigate that? And he said, you have to come up with a personal mission statement. And whenever an opportunity comes up, you hold it up to that mission statement. If it aligns, then you do it. If it doesn't, then you don't. It's that simple. As you all develop your personal mission statements, ask yourselves these questions to help you out. What is the problem I want to solve? What brings me joy? Where do the strands of my passions intersect? You don't need to make this statement right now. That can only come after you ramble for a little bit, but it's a good thing to have in the back of your mind. Pearl number 4, network across and find your tribe. Issa Rae herself said this one, so if you don't want to hear from me, take it apart. The people right next to you in this room are your greatest resource. You obviously share similar passions, and they have skills that you don't have. All of you should be holding on to each other and working together to elevate and reach your goals. In my tribe, we hold each other down. They are my board members and co-founders of my organization. We sing backup for each other. We produce each other's shows. We're all in this together, and we're going to hold each other down while we lift each other up. Point 5, the energy you put out is the energy you get to draw from. Over here, we don't match energy, we set it. What you put out comes back to you, good or bad. Kindness, grace, and humility go a long way. Rule number 6, life is about cycles. After graduate school, I decided that I wanted to gain some experience working in nonprofits before I just built my own. But I could not get a job anywhere, and it was very confusing because I had not had a job before, and I now had 2 degrees. I had 2. I hit my breaking point when I tried to work as the receptionist at a furniture store, and they didn't even call me back. At the same time, I essentially became homeless because of some family drama, and I was like, what is going on? But remember how I said that my friends would hold me down? They helped me move my things in the middle of a very dramatic rainstorm, and I moved in with one of my friends outside the city. And after a while, I stopped fighting. I knew that I had a job waiting for me the next summer, and so I said, okay, it seems like the universe is telling me to pause, that I was in a different cycle than I thought. So I stopped and listened. One of the biggest fears I had with Dunamis, and we'll talk about fear in a second, was how I could build this organization and pay my bills. I needed time and energy to invest in my business, but I also had to work. And my fear was that I would always keep choosing work over Dunamis, and it would fall by the wayside. But then all of a sudden, here I was, at a very peaceful house in front of a lake, with no job. The universe was trying to give me time. And so in the 9 months that I spent in that house, I wrote our business plan, we hosted our first grassroots fundraising campaign, built a website, secured a fiscal sponsor, and we incorporated as a nonprofit organization in the state of Massachusetts. Once I started working again in the summer, I never went without a job again. In fact, I had multiple. I was so busy that if I hadn't had the time and space and peace of those 9 months, my fear would have come true. And who knows if Dunamis would even exist right now. Make peace with what cycle you're in and remember that a new phase is always on the horizon. When you're happy, it feels like you will always be happy and that you have always been happy. When you're sad, it feels like you will never know anything except sadness, but that is a lie. Listen to the universe and pay attention to your cycles. This next pearl is do it yourself. This is a quote by playwright David Mamet. He says, "Keep your wits about you. It is not necessary to barter your talent, your self-esteem, and your worth for the chance of pleasing your inferiors. It is more frightening, but it is not less productive to go your own way, to form your own theater company, to write and stage your own plays. Do not internalize the industrial model. You are not of the myriad of interchangeable pieces, but a unique human being. And if you've got something to say it. And think well of yourself while you're learning to say it better. Stop waiting for permission. Make your own movies. Build your own organization. Make your own podcast. Don't wait for somebody to tell you yes. Look again at these people sitting next to you right now and build something together, even if it's scary. Which leads us to the final pearl. Do it scared. Life is hard. People who tell you that it isn't are lying to you. And to authentically try to be the best version of yourself is scary as hell. I was terrified to build this organization and lead it. No one taught me how to do it. But now all of a sudden I had to know taxes. I had to raise and manage money so that people I care about can pay their rent. Creatives from all over the city were trusting me with some of their most vulnerable parts of themselves. It was terrifying. And with lots of help and therapy, I did it and do it anyway. Do it scared. There will never be a perfect moment, but I promise you, we are waiting for you. We are waiting for the things you are going to build, for the art you are going to make, for the traditions you are going to shift, for the communities that you are going to transform. And I know that's scary. So do it scared, but do it. Thank you.
So all throughout the past couple of weeks, as we've been preparing for the final celebration, we've told the young people sitting in front of me that this just isn't an opportunity for you to tell us what you've learned, but it's an opportunity to celebrate you. So let's do some celebrating of you by presenting you with your certificates of completion and some gifts that we have for you. We got you some Arts Boston gift cards that's going to enable you to continue to stay engaged in the arts and culture sector in Boston. You can choose among hundreds of shows offered year-round through BosTix. It's a $60 gift card for you. So Arts Boston's nonprofit discount ticketing program, BosTix, allows you to use that gift card and engage in arts and culture performances and events throughout the city of Boston. We also have a Padfolio for you so you can continue to share your incredible work beyond the BAI program. We've also got some BAI swag for you, like notebooks and sunglasses, and we'll be presenting those to you right now. So can I have Julia come up and join us as well to present these? Oh, also a sticker sheet designed by Kayla. So what I'm going to do now, these are the certificates of completion, physical evidence of the incredible work that you've done throughout the summer. I'm going to read out intern names and worksite supervisors who are present. When I say your worksite and your intern name, if you could come up to this table as well and congratulate your intern as they come and collect their certificate, that would be fantastic. I'm sure they'd love to see your smiling and supportive faces. We good to go? Awesome. So from Actor Shakespeare Project, let's give it up for Allie. Awesome. Also representing Actor Shakespeare Project, Don. Congratulations. Great. From ART, American Repertory Theater, let's give it up for Miss Nosh. Thank you so much, Miss Nosh. From Ballet Rocks, let's give it up for Layla. Layla, congratulations. Thanks for all your hard work. From Beat the Odds, let's give it up for Ellie. Thank you so much for everything. Great. Also representing Beat the Odds, big applause for Travell. Awesome, Travell. Congratulations. Working from Boston Lyric Opera, Sunshina. Representing Brighter Boston, let's give it up for Antonio. Give a huge round of applause from Community Music Center of Boston, Carlos. Congrats. Right. All right, again from Community Music Center of Boston, let's give it up for Kalia. All right, from Company One, clap it up for Lucy. Huntington Theater, clap it up for Eaton. All right, again representing Huntington Theater, let's give it up for Jackie. Right. One more from Huntington Theater, Tyra, clap it up for Tyra. Congratulations. Representing Mass Creative, let's give it up for Dowens. All right, from NEMPAC, North End Music and Performing Arts Center, clap it up for Olive. All right, working out of Powell Arts Center, let's give a big round of applause for Kayla. Representing Spoke, let's give a big round of applause for Antoine.
Congrats, Antoine.
Representing Urbanity Dance, let's give it up to Aaliyah.
Represent Urbanity with my shirt.
Awesome.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, and last but certainly not least, big shouts from Urbanity as well. Denzel. Awesome. 2022 Class of Bloomberg Arts Internship Program. Thank you so much to all the worksite supervisors who are present. Again, this program is not possible without you and the incredible guidance that you give to the interns that work at your work sites. Also, we have another surprise for you all.
We want to congratulate the 2022 Bloomberg Arts Internship interns in completing your program. This is a huge deal, y'all. Congrats.
This summer, we appreciated your creativity, your humor,
and your energy to dive into whatever task or project we threw their way, of the fresh ideas that they both brought and the positive energy that they brought to the table.
For engaging with our other students, for leading conversations and helping us with the showcase. I can't tell you how much you all have impacted us.
She's a phenomenal graphic designer, and she's just the sweetest person to work with.
You're going to see the fruit of your work.
Every day you were showing up, digging in and committed, and we really appreciated that about you.
Thank you for your passion, commitment, creativity. I know you both are going to do amazing things. Have a wonderful senior year, and we are so grateful that you were interns with Actors Shakespeare Project this summer.
Not only did you both get incredible work done, but coming to work was just fun when you guys were here. We had a great time. We did a lot of really good stuff. You kept me on my toes, kept me thinking really well, and we were so glad to host you here.
We were very impressed by the initiative you took right from the start and how you've shown true leadership qualities in a variety of work projects and contexts.
The thing I am most grateful for is this group's energy. They have great ideas, they ask great questions, they're great to each other, and we were so fortunate to have the BAI folks as part of our summer team. Thank you so much for all of your hard work, and we hope you'll always stay part of the Huntington family.
A lot of gratitude for all of your positive energy, your willingness to try new things, take on new tasks, ask questions, always put your best foot forward.
Just your willingness to always speak up with your ideas and be loud and proud about all of the brilliant things that you were coming up with around different projects, because all those ideas were incredible, and it was great that you were just so willing and so able to speak up about them. So thank you for that.
Their fresh, super positive attitude in this business that can go a long way in changing the outlook of everybody who's involved that day, which results in a much better concert. And they really excelled at this. You know, their technical skills are also great, but this is really what I'm gonna miss the most about them.
Thank you for all your work with Company One Theater this summer. It was a blast.
I really appreciate how well they have fit into the CMCB community.
Thank you for sharing your availability, your time, and your energy. It definitely means a lot to us as we are working towards a bigger, better tomorrow for all of our growing students. It's awesome to explore more here. We love to continue exploring with BAI students in the future to come. We hope to see you guys in the school year and continue all your hard work. It'll pay off.
We meant every single word. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for your new insights. Thank you for being a part of this BAI, Bloomberg Arts Internship family. One more round of applause for you all. And again, this is a team effort. Interns, program partners, CAC, 826, Bodi, the tutors that came to work with us, worksite supervisors. This program does not happen without you. BAI staff, EdVestors staff, alumni advisory council members, program assistants. It's been an honor and a pleasure working with each and every one of you. This is not goodbye, it is see you later.